Hi guys, 15th of April 2018, Sunday. Good afternoon, my name is Piotr and welcome in our pre-market open from Land of Trading. I will try to make it short and simple. Not many changes compared to what we've discussed last Friday afternoon. So that's good. Before we start, risk warning, guys. Trading FX, CFDs, cryptocurrencies, some margin carries high level of risk, may not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all of your initial investment. So please do not invest the money that you cannot. Let's start with dollar yen and what we discussed last Friday. It's a question about 108.05, 108.20 as a key level for both bulls and bears based on this weekly chart, based on these broken swings. We found the possible demand on weekly chart based on this pre and the week during the US election, right, in 2016, and that's the first time we are testing this possible demand, and it was around a month ago. Since then, because of there are many explanations, let's say overall as a short covering, we are able to see the bounce, and as I mentioned, 108.06, 108.20 based on the weekly close might be the key for both bulls and bears. Now, taking into consideration what happened over the weekend, I mean US, Syria, Russia, right? What I noticed actually, there is no escalation, right? So one can argue that because of that event, we may see the gap down. I wonder, but even if we are going to see gap down, that might be so means we are going to see at the open yen demand that might be countered later during the day. If other things, right, Washington internally, US, China, if nothing's gonna happen here, that actually good thing for bulls is that there are no escalation on the line US, Syria, Russia, right? So in that case, we may see attempt to rally towards 108.05, 620 as early as right after the open. What's going to happen where we may see some kind of the support based on the monthly, based on the weekly, 105.55, 105.50 over the course. That's the main possible demand. How does it look on a daily chart? We took out some stops, all right, but we saw the rejection on Friday. Overall, as we discussed on Friday, I think that at least we got the good chance to see a little bit higher, more stop hunting, all right, and then all about the action around this blue area. As I mentioned on Friday, the first attempt depends, of course. Maybe we are gonna to gap up right at the open, but based on what we saw on Sunday, on Friday at the close, if we are gonna to see tomorrow during the European or US session first attempt to test this level, that might be the opportunity from the intraday perspective to try to take the advantage and try to short it on intraday basis. Last week opened the blue, right, and eventually the levels right below last week low, right, that might be from the intraday bulls perspective. That might be the first level to try to be active on the long side if we are not gonna to test 108.05 first, right? So let's have a look on a daily or on an intraday basis, all right? Right at the close, we tested this possible whole zone we discussed it last Friday, all right? And any gap down, that might be the challenge at the beginning for the bulls. If we are going to gap down, let's say below 107.20, 107.10, then last week open and the lows from last week might be in play, as I mentioned, especially that here some may argue that that's something we can call it like looks like small intraday head and shoulders, right? So in that case, last week open, last week low might be in play, but I do believe there is unfinished business here on an intraday basis as well. More stops and most probably algos will try to work with this with these levels. Euro dollar. Again, consolidation, and that's how it looks for now. We were able to hold weekly open from last week, right? On the monthly, we are fighting around the entry of the amount. No change here on weekly. Daily, that's possible swing high here, so right, and if there are no escalation of the tensions, that might be positive for dollar bulls, and we may see attempt to test last week open, and we may see attempt to try to test bottom of that range visible here on daily. So in that case, if we are going to switch to lower time frame, that's what we discussed. It probably as long as we are below 23.50, 23.70 here, there is a chance we are going to retest this possible demand here, especially during the first attempt. That another pool of stops. That's where markets show the weakness within this cycle of the move down, right? So the final move to the downside was from here right now. Once we made the break to the upside, we never looked back. So last week open, this long accumulation over here. If we are gonna to see around the European session or US session attempt to test this level, the first attempt might be the buying opportunity, but overall it's gonna be from the bulls perspective the challenge to avoid the move lower towards the pre-NFP possible demand we discussed 2 weeks ago, right? From the bears perspective, intraday bears perspective, we might see attempt to look for that market will try to look for weak shorts. We might see stop counting towards 26.50, 70, and we may see the rejection over here. Next one is the gold. That's what we discussed Friday as well. Right after we ended our stream on Friday, it wasn't great. It wasn't great move. I mean, if you remember, if you don't, then please rewatch the Friday stream. All right. We were calculating that we might see the rally towards this previous demand and see rejection, and actually right at the New York Open, even without the test of this yellow zone, we saw strong rejection and retest the weekly open and retest this demand we discussed, and we saw the bounce, right? And now because of US Syria Russia case, we might see what we discussed Friday. Okay, we are fighting here on the yellow, within the yellow zone, and if the market towards we are still within the range, and we may see attempt to look for stops, some kind of the stop hunting. Okay, and based on this, and based on the green possible demand from daily, all right, we may eventually see the bounce from around 13.15 in that case. Bulls need to close above 13.57, 13.60, need to take out 13.65, but I would say that the weekly close here is gonna be important if we are gonna to start strong at the beginning of the week. All right, it might end up as previously with a long upper shadow on gold. So from intraday perspective, of course, depends what's going to happen, how it's going to look after the open. Something like 13.55, 13.56 might be the selling opportunity. Attempt to break last week open and trying to look for stops below 13.30 towards 13.15. The 13.15 on the intraday, that might be this jumper, right? So let's make this scenario as well. If we are gonna to go towards the jumper, small stops, and eventually trying to hold the range really from here, like this. All right, so it's all about the entry. Now the latest thing, if you follow us on Twitter, and by the way, if you liked our streams, then definitely you should subscribe, smash the like button. Wow, I said it. Whoa. Goodies, and then you are gonna be notified when we are online. If you follow us on Twitter, then you know that we are short pound yen. All right. From the 153.30.50 zone. And now it's all about weekly open, and if we are gonna to see higher levels, then definitely we are gonna to rethink this short, and we will probably cover that short. Anyway, we are right now like 50-70 pips in the money. I would like to see gap down and open below this yellow zone, so we are talking about something below 152.50. Okay, so as I promised, that was simple and short. Please follow us on Twitter, subscribe us here on YouTube channel. Let's stay in touch. Enjoy the rest of the Sunday. Have a great evening. See you around.